WWE, the custody of a child will be determined in a match. Oh, I knew he was going to do that.
Hulk Hogan is a jabroni, Hollywood blonde, but my boss, Mr. McMahon, is not jabroni. Get a horse a time, fool.
Put that cigarette out.
Will you stop?
Woo! What's up, Drunk Marks? Welcome to this week's episode of Drunk Wrestling History. I'm your designated host, Adam. With us, as always, are our royal drunk historians themselves.
This is Eddie, Woozle Wuzzle.
And this is Scott. It's Ghetto Blaster time, fool.
And I think in discussion before we started taping this, you got some interesting stuff that you're consuming. What do we have today?
I'm actually going to crack it right now. I'm drinking a can of Mr. Perfect Hazy IPA from local brewing company in San Francisco. I want to say thank you to good brother Mike for giving me the heads up on this last week. I ordered it as soon as I saw it. I got it. I think it came Monday. So, salud.
Nice. So before the show started, in proper show prep, I did a couple of shots of Metallica's Blackened Whiskey. So if you'd like to change my show name to Alistair Blackened, I'd be 100% okay with that. And to go along with the show while drinking, I have a Corona Seltzer Blackberry Lime. So cheers, everybody.
You know what, dude? Since you said what you drank before we started recording, I forgot. I started off with 2 Pina Colada Buzz Balls that I picked up on the way home because I had to get a buzz like in an hour, and Carissa and I just did about a shot and a half of Bullet.
Excellent. You know, I threw up on Buzz Balls before, so I've sworn them off. But if I had to go back to them, that's probably the flavor I'd go with, too.
It's the best one, yeah.
Agree.
And they do the trick.
And water over here. L'chaim, everyone.
It's riveting
L'chaim.
stuff.
Oh, yes. Nice and pure and all that positive bullshit.
Unlike
right.
us.
Pretty much, yeah. We're delightful. All right.
So do you guys, do you want to introduce what we're going to talk about on the show first, Adam, or do you want me to go into...
You got business to take care of. Let's knock that out first.
Okay, let's do that first. Good idea. Okay, so time to time, kind of every time we get together and record, I like to go over just some general show notes, things that have been going on with the show, and then just a little bit about what's been going on in wrestling in general. We're a history show, but it's almost kind of weird to not mention at least the big stuff. So number one, I like to do this when I can, and when you guys leave us iTunes comments, I like to read them. So I'm going to start with those. We got a few recently, and to tell you the truth, I might be reading one of these again that I read before, but I don't think so, because I don't remember when we recorded last. It's been so long.
It has.
It's been a while, so I'm going to go through a couple of these. From Mayhem 5000, I don't know who that is on Twitter. Scott is awesome on Fully Posable, so no doubt when I heard about this, I had to check it out. I love talking about early memories of wrestling, and I love hearing others. And then it has a link for more, and I didn't realize that I cut off the rest of that review when I hit print.
Sad.
So I have no idea what else Mayhem 5000 said, but thank you for leaving a review. I got another one from Big Woody Style, who I assume is Big Wood.
Yes.
Such a fun show to listen to. Simply a group of friends enjoying some drinks and talking wrestling. Gets me through the workday. And you know what? That's what we're here for, is to get you through the workday and your shitty-ass drive to work.
Thank you, Big Wood.
We got another one from Top Dog 611. Any idea who that is, Scott?
Nope.
Okay. Because, people don't always use the same name on iTunes as they do on Twitter.
Well, exactly,
So-
and I'm just getting back into the Twitter world after a nice little break, so I'll reassociate myself with everybody, but right now I'm kind of out of the loop on who's who.
I was going to mention that you recently, as recently as today, resurfaced on Twitter after a long break.
Yes, I have. It was a nice break, but time to jump in with some positivity.
Yeah, thank you. Okay, so I did read this one before, so I'm going to leave that one out. April 9th, we got a comment from the great DJ, our favorite listener. This show
Can
is
we
more...
take a moment out and just say, DJ, dude, thank you so much for the support.
Absolutely.
You really are awesome.
Yeah, DJ has done more to promote this on Twitter than either of you guys have.
What? Exactly. Yes.
So his comment was, this show is more amusing and entertaining than it gives itself credit for. And- which is actually fairly accurate.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're the only ones who bury our own podcast, right? And we got one.
Man.
And we got one more. This would have been like last week or 10 days ago, June 8th, 28th. I mean, this show is the greatest thing ever. Very knowledgeable wrestling content that I will consume every episode. Keep it up, dudes. And then there was another one, and it might have been on, I can't remember if it was on YouTube or maybe I just missed it on iTunes, but someone said, he said something along the lines of, we need longer episodes and no more of this cutting an episode off at Virgil shit. Something to that effect. So I wish I had that one in front of me so I could put the guy over, but I don't have it. So we got that. We've got a lot of YouTube comments, but it's actually hard to kind of find those, to tell you the truth. So I don't have those in front of me, but we appreciate all the comments, all the retweets, everything you guys do. Couple other notes. We've got listeners in new places. We got listeners in France and Germany, like just in the last month. Canada has suddenly shot to the top of our, or not the top, but like number 2 place of our biggest markets.
Excellent.
Yeah, I wonder if it has anything to do with the, it coincided with the Canadian Stampede episode. I don't know if a bunch of
If
Canadians
that
saw
was
me
a
talk about
factor
that
or not, but
yeah, I don't know
still.
if that had anything to do with it, but it happened at the same time. We suddenly got a lot of listeners in Ireland, and especially over the last few months, we've had a lot of listeners in the UK. So thank you to all of our international listeners, and that one dude in India.
Yeah.
And
Thank you for
we
drinking
have
with
a
us.
few- Yeah, we even have a handful in Australia and a couple in New Zealand. So yeah, we are officially Drunk Wrestling History worldwide. And
Absolutely love it.
yeah, I also want to. We've not plugged this enough. We have a damn shirt. we were too stupid to remember to plug it on our last round of taping, except for one stupid episode.
That's such a drunk thing to do, isn't it?
It's a drunk podcast. So we have a shirt on it's whatamaneuver.net.
That is correct, yes.
Net.
Yeah, whatamaneuver.net. I would leave this part out if I did not think this. These are really comfortable shirts. They're like, I got the super lightweight. I love the lightweight cotton or whatever the fuck it is. They're good shirts. They're cool. It's just our logo. Go on the website, buy one, because this fucking beer isn't going to pay for itself.
Well, at the same time, too, you buy this shirt, it's going to inspire more shirts. And we've got a lot of ideas in the hopper, but we need this one to move. So if you guys want more shirts, buy this one.
Exactly, yeah. Also, I just want to say thank you to Jeff he's the guy who won our giveaway a while back. Jeff at Verbal Sows 37, big beer guy. I think he's in Chicago. He's the dude that does the comic book style wrestling figure photography.
Love that.
And he did a whole like comic book of our awesome Tanaka watch along. And it was like the coolest thing ever, dude. It was so cool.
Fantastic work.
Yeah, and he uses like the wrong wrestlers, but he recreates a match with different people, and he used all the dialogue from it. All the little cartoon bubbles were lines from the show.
Yeah, I'm already
So
a huge figure fan as it is, so to have our show memorialized in figure form is just, it's beyond cool. So huge thanks to Verbal Sows for that.
Yeah, it was really cool. And then just, do you want to go like briefly into just a couple things that have happened recently in wrestling, or do you want to just move on?
But hey, whatever you want, dude. It's your show. It's our show.
Okay.
So if you want to do it, go for it.
Okay. Well, the biggest story since we've recorded, because it's been a long time, we haven't recorded since March.
Right.
The biggest story, well, I guess the biggest story would be that like it's wrestling without an audience, because last time no, that's not true. Last time we recorded on Zoom, there was wrestling with no audience.
Yes.
The biggest thing that's happened since then is Becky had to leave. Becky got pregnant.
Yeah, I mean, I'm
huge.
really happy with how they transferred the belt over. I think that was creative. It was cool. It definitely went to the right person. And while I'm hoping for Asuka versus Shayna at SummerSlam, we're probably going to get Asuka versus Charlotte, knowing WWE. But
Oy vey.
yeah, no, huge congrats to Becky,
Oy vey
man.
is
That's
right.
awesome.
Totally, yeah. I'm super happy for both of them. it sucks they don't have Becky Lynch on TV every week.
Agree.
Realistically, she in particular is better in front of a live crowd, you know, as opposed to some other people that, like, I mean, who gives a shit? Like, Bobby Lashley's not getting a reaction from the crowd anyway.
No.
You know what I mean? But Becky is at her best in that situation. So if there's a time for her to be gone, it's now.
It works, yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I was kind of not sad. I was happy for them, but I was like, oh man, like now I'm not going to see Becky for however long.
Well, do you think she's going to return? Because you got to think about it. If she does return, that puts her back on the road. So as a mom, your husband's on the road as well. Can both of you be on the road at the same time on the same brand, hitting pay-per-views and house shows?
It's not impossible. It can be hard because there are some that have given birth and returned, like Awesome Kong, Mickey James. I'm pretty sure Tiffany as well.
Right, but what Scott's saying is the dad is also on the road.
Oh yeah, good.
What I think they could do, the two of them are big enough stars that I think they could negotiate with the company to alternate house shows anyway.
Yeah.
You know, like Becky's on this week, Rollins is on this week.
Yes.
And they'll figure out Monday.
They definitely have the resources available, and I guess the
negotiating power.
Yeah, negotiating power, whatever. There's superior position.
Yeah,
to
Becky
make
says,
that
hey,
arrangement. Yeah.
Right, if Becky says, hey, I want to come back, but I only want to work every other week of house shows, I'm sure she can manage. They'll accommodate that.
I hope so.
Yeah. So, so good for her. The upside, I mean, the downside for us is that she's gone for a year or so. The upside to us is, I guess she'll have bigger tits when she comes back.
Whoa. God.
All right. Another one is Tessa got fired, which was kind of came out of nowhere, right?
Man,
as the world champion.
Yes, and all they wanted her to do was like film a little vignette for them. Like pick up your phone, hit record for 2 minutes, send it in. How hard is that? But she couldn't even do that. And they stuck their neck out for her when she was accused of being racist. When she had all that racist shit that came out.
Isn't it almost like, do you think she wanted to be fired?
I think so. I think she was done with them. I've heard that her contract was coming up, so she was probably like, fuck it, I'm done there anyway. I don't care.
Yeah. Right.
But man, what a way to go out.
That was the case.
I didn't realize too. I mean, I guess she works down there. I didn't realize she lived in Mexico.
I didn't realize that either. I had no idea.
Now, do you think she lives in Mexico because the food down there will make her Tessa more so she can sell more videos?
The food and the water. So it definitely helps her pocketbook for sure.
Right, makes more sense. Okay, yeah. Okay, that's what I was thinking.
You sell more
All right,
videos.
we're on the same page.
Yeah.
Right, exactly, yeah. Another
Number
one
2 on the selling list.
And number 2 in our hearts.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God.
On our chest also.
Another one is suddenly everyone in the Indies and NXT UK and everywhere is getting in trouble for sexual assault or sexual harassment or whatever. This, case by case, like everybody's in trouble.
If guilty,
right,
then throw the book at them, man. Fuck them.
Right.
If they did it, look, they have to have their day in court, right? Because right now it's all allegedly. But if proven true, fuck those guys. Get them the fuck out.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. We don't need that in wrestling.
And stop victim blaming. Fuck.
Yeah, at least back in the day, they just go bang rats. But you know what I mean? Now they're harassing the other wrestlers.
Right. Yeah, and that's horrible.
Whatsoever.
Yeah, right. And the rats,
no matter
that's
what
they were
your
there
stardom power is, I mean, don't abuse that just because you can.
Right. Yeah, like Joey Ryan got fired too, right?
Yes, he did. Yes,
yeah,
he did.
Joey Ryan's he's about to lose that house that he bought using money he made wrestling.
All that dick money.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I don't think those dick flips are going to be very useful at his new job as a sandwich artist.
Probably not. Hold the pickle. I wouldn't want him handling my meat. Fuck that. Get out of here with that.
All right. I think that's it for just updates as far as what's been going on. So I think it's time to get into the show. Adam, what do you think?
That is pretty much a summary. I'm sure there is a lot more things, but I mean that's been the last few wrestling months in a nutshell. So you're welcome. All right. Today's episode, we are going back to the year of our Lord 1993. This is the first ever King of the Ring tournament. So,
false. That's not true. This is the first ever King of the Ring pay-per-view.
Crap.
This is their.
Then I
there
watched.
were
Okay, then I watched
there
this
were
wrong.
a couple. Yeah, there were a couple. Well, they might have said that on the pay-per-view, but no, there were a couple because Harley won in the tournament, but it was like on a house show.
Yes, we're here to educate. The first one was technically in 1985. It just was not a pay-per-view. Don Morocco
right.
was actually
Okay,
the
so
first
then that's
King of
why
the
it was
Exactly.
way off the radar then. All right.
Yeah,
Or at least
right.
my case.
Yeah, but they weren't pointing that out on the pay-per-view, I'm sure.
Right.
So, you know, how would you know?
Yeah. Here we go. Yeah. First recording back, and I delivered the first fall. You're welcome, everyone.
Well, hey, we're here to educate. We're here to help.
Even the goddamn host. All right, so it's an eight wrestler tournament, all within the show. Even though further shows years later would take place like spread out between Raw, SmackDown, and then peaking at the designated pay-per-view. This was all within the same one. There were also a few championship matches within this tournament to fill the time, but yeah, eight wrestler tournament. Do we need to name everyone, or just jump right into it?
No, I think it would be. I think it would make sense to name them all.
Okay, so first one, top seed, or they did seeding in this tournament: Bret Hart and Razor Ramon. Also, let's see, Mr. Hughes taking on Mr. Perfect, Bam Bam Bigelow and Hacksaw Jim Duggan, and Tatanka and Lex Luger.
Yeah, there you go. Okay, so those were our
the
brackets,
eight. And
so it was only
yeah.
it was only 8. I don't remember if there were qualifying matches like on Raw or anything. I sort of assume there were.
I think there were.
There probably
Yeah.
were, because they established a seeding method, but still, like, this was the time of the execution of this tournament. So this
Right,
was
but
what
I
was
don't really
the
care
focus.
that Mr. Hughes beat Skinner to
Yeah.
get into this, so we don't need to go into that.
Skinner cares.
Yeah. Okay, so let's get into the matches.
Starting off the night is Bret Hart versus Razor Ramon.
So the first thing I thought when I saw this is, why are these two guys in the same bracket? Shouldn't
Right.
they have been? Shouldn't they have been like? I mean, they would have been a great final, but they at least should have been the second match of the night.
Yeah, this was two big names, but I guess Razor Ramon at the time wasn't as big as he was going to be later. We remember he had just gotten defeated by 1-2-3 Kid, which is why the crowd was chanting 1-2-3 at him the whole match.
The entire time. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
really giving him the business. And you could really see that Razor, he was a good heel, but he was going to be something more. Like, Razor was really, he was okay in the AWA as Scott Hall, but when he hit WWE with this new character, he really kicked it into gear, and you could tell he lost this match, but he was going to be a bigger deal in WWE.
Totally. And I actually, after the match, I was like, probably the reason they had them in the same bracket was because they wanted to start off with a good match. And if you look at the lineup, like, you can only do so much in the first round.
Yes.
And still have something good in the second round.
Right.
So I think that's why they did that.
And
like, I would have maybe had Razor squash Hacksaw and then have Bret and Bam Bam in the first round, but neither of those would have been,
They already knew who the final was going to be when they made this, and I think that's why they stuck, kind of jumping ahead a little bit, Bigelow versus Hacksaw. But, dude, we
Right.
forgot to mention the announcers for the show, Bobby the Brain Heenan, Macho Man Randy Savage, and Jim Ross. And during the match, JR says, Bret is one of 13 children. And Bobby the Brain
He did say
replies, yeah, one of each. I just want to throw that in because, God damn it, I love Bobby Heenan.
He's like he's our favorite on the show.
Activate asshole mode, but boy, it's entertaining.
Also, Macho Man makes his official pick for the King of the Ring during this match. He says Mr. Perfect's going to win the whole thing.
That was a reasonable guess.
Well, totally. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Overall, it was a really good match.
It was.
It started out slow, and it was a lot of holds. And for like half of it, so I was thinking, okay, they wanted to have a hot start to the show. Halfway through the match, I'm like, maybe they got that wrong, but it picked up afterward, and it got to be a really good match.
Yeah, it did. I think the finish was cool too. Bret reversing that second rope suplex into a pin.
It was like a belly to belly or belly to back off the second rope, right?
A belly to back, yeah, and then Bret reversed it into a pin.
Right. Brett shifted his weight and landed. Yeah, it was kind of a finish out of nowhere.
Yeah, solid opener
if
for
you
sure.
will. Yeah, that was it's a good match. Yeah, we liked it.
Very much. All right. Second match of the night would be Mr. Hughes, accompanied by Harvey Whippleman, and he's taking on Kurt Hennig, Mr. Perfect.
A battle of the misters, if you will.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even think about
We
that.
had Mr. Mister going in this match.
So I'll read you the first two sentences of my notes for this match. Harvey Whippleman, fuck.
Dude, were you drunk when you made your notes?
I think I was.
Yeah.
I think I was because I think I made these last Friday. I was drinking, yeah, but I was just like, when Harvey Whippleman came out, I was like, this motherfucker.
Yeah, and we have to remember too, Mr. Hughes had just jumped into a feud with The Undertaker.
Right, and they showed that in the video package where he hit Taker was fighting with Giant Gonzalez, I think.
Yes.
And Mr. Hughes hit him with the urn.
Using the urn, yeah.
Yeah.
And then stole the urn. So when he kind of went into that feud with Undertaker, you're thinking this is a big deal because Undertaker is a big deal. And so when he's facing Mr. Perfect in the first round, you're like, well, shit. Well, there goes my hope for a SummerSlam 91 rematch of Hart and Perfect in the second round. They're probably going to have Mr. Hughes win, but...
Totally. Yeah. But that didn't happen. Mr. Perfect won, which was the right decision.
Oh, totally. Yeah.
Mr. Hughes hit he had the urn still, and he hit Mr. Perfect with it right in front of the ref, right?
Yeah, brilliant move. Yeah, that worked out well.
Yeah. It was really weird, and then it was like he hit him with the urn to get himself DQ'd, which made no sense. Then when the match was over, he just left. Like, he didn't jump Mr. Perfect after, and that's what I thought was coming. I was like, oh, okay, I see what's going to happen. Mr. Perfect's going to win by DQ, and he's going to go into the next round fucked up.
Yeah, they're going to soften him up.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep.
And then, which would have made, I guess seeing how it all played out, it made sense they didn't do that. But it was just a weird, I guess it was to protect Mr. Hughes. Maybe they saw something in him.
Well, yeah, and he was still feuding with Undertaker, too. So you don't want to make him look bad. You don't want to have him just take a perfect plex and not be that. And then he has to go fight Undertaker. You're like, there's no way he's going to win that. But, dude, did you...
devalue him. Yeah.
Yeah, did you catch that Bobby the Brain accidentally called JR Monsoon during this match?
I did not catch that, but I love that.
Yeah. Oops.
Did you catch that at the beginning? The Brain did a brain scan.
Oh
where
my
Mr.
God.
Perfect
Yes.
come out. I totally forgot about the brain scan. The
I
brain
had
scan
to.
was incredible.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was great.
I
But
loved it.
The picture
Yeah.
kept moving while he was trying to draw on the screen, and you could tell he was getting frustrated. Like, fuck, come on, guys, work with me.
Yeah, right. Yeah, it was. They didn't quite have that technology. They didn't have the NFL's technology at that
No,
point.
John Madden, he was not yet.
Yeah, exactly. Okay, so after that, before the next match, we had a Yoko interview backstage with Mr. Fuji, and no, there was nothing to it.
Not really.
But for some reason, but they were playing harp music for some reason.
Oh, that's weird. I didn't catch that.
Yeah, it wasn't like weird like Japanese music with bells or whatever the fuck that is. It was harps. It was really weird.
And they were also really playing up that they were in the heartland of America. They were really
The
trying to drive
entire
that
night.
home. Yeah.
That's right. Yeah. You're totally right. It was in Dayton, Ohio.
Yes. So obviously
At the
setting
nut-
up what was going to happen in the Hogan-Yokozuna match, they were really driving that point home.
Right. It was at the Nutter Center, which I thought was a great name for a center.
Or unfortunate. I don't know.
No, it was very fortunate.
However you want to look at it.
Pee Wee Herman
What
hung
is
out there.
What is a nutter?
There's this website called Pornhub, and I would suggest maybe going and checking that out.
So you're saying that this arena just came out?
Yeah, Lars Nutter Sullivan.
Oh, God.
Pull around back.
Are you trying to say that tickets were hard to come by for this?
Zing.
All right. Okay, let's move on to the next match before we get carried away.
Entertaining everyone's drive to work. All right. So next one would be Hacksaw Jim Duggan taking on Bam Bam Bigelow.
I don't have much to say about this match.
I have something to say about this match. There was a dude in the second row with a belly shirt over a red t-shirt, and he had the most magnificent mullet I've ever seen. And that was the highlight of this match.
Wow. I was actually going to bring up mullets a little bit later in the show for another match, but you beat me to the punch. Well done, sir.
I know what match you're talking about. I know because I have the same. Well, we lost Scott.
No, I'm back.
You're back.
I got a phone call.
Okay.
Sorry.
Oh, okay. Tell the jabroni to ignore the jabroni.
I just big timed him. Don't worry.
Okay. I know what match you're talking about, and I have that in my notes, but we'll get to that later.
Drunk minds think
But-
alike.
Exactly. But anyway, Hacksaw went for a spear, missed, hit the turnbuckle, bam, bam, hit him with a diving headbutt, which is the dumbest move ever, and won.
Pretty much. End of story.
Yeah. End of story.
Big takeaway that I had from that was like there was somebody held a sign, I want to say 10 rows back, and said Bam Bam Piccolo. So
Yeah.
that's why it was that less memorable of a match to make the sign the highlight that I pointed out.
Rude.
Dude, I didn't notice that during this match, but I know exactly the spot you're talking about because they had a different sign during every match. I noticed that later on that they had a sign that said Bam Bam Piccolo.
Yeah, at least for this match, I mean, that was the highlight of it. And
Yeah.
quick laugh.
Then after that match, we went to an interview. It was the Steiners and the Smoking Guns being interviewed by Terry Taylor, and I've never seen so much charisma in my life in one place. It was really something, man.
It was something. Yeah.
Yeah,
It was something.
It was definitely something. I forgot Terry Taylor was an interviewer, actually.
Well, the Red Rooster went so well for him. He's like, I can only top this by being an interviewer backstage.
He graduated to Todd Pettingill's job.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, he got grandfathered in, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. All right, next match. Moving on.
All right, last one of the quarterfinals. Lex Luger taking on Tatanka.
So, I was never a huge Luger fan, but I was watching this and like, really the Narcissist was the most I ever liked Luger. And this was early. I would have been 14. So I was right around the age that I started to like heels.
Yeah.
He might have been, I think I've said before that Shawn was the first heel I ever liked, but actually Narcissist might have been the first heel I ever liked. That gimmick with the forearm was so cool. And I was convinced that I could see those bolts in his forearm. You know what I mean? Because he would show it, and there was. If you go look at it, if you go back and watch that, or look at a picture of him, there is a little lump, and I'm sure it's just. I don't know. I probably have the same thing, or maybe I fucking don't, because he did crash his motorcycle. I know that
he did.
Right? That was a fact.
That was yeah.
So I mean, maybe he did have his elbow rebuilt. I really don't know, but I was convinced that I could see the bolts from that shit in his arm when he would show it off.
Well, maybe you
And
could.
Maybe I could. Whether I could or not, like looking back at it, what a cool gimmick that was.
It really was. It really was. Like, he was
It's
Bob
so
Orton without
minimally
the cast.
subtle. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Both guys
so-
were undefeated.
Both guys, yeah, exactly. Both guys were undefeated. There was another Brain scam this time. Brain, I think, drew a monkey wrench around Luger's arm or something.
Yes.
And then the ref tried to put a pad on Luger's arm.
Yes.
Right.
Had to wear it the whole match.
Yeah, and then I never thought about this before.
Like
but
it had to be
Tatanka's, I never thought about this before, and maybe it was to do. So I don't know what we're recording this. This is going to come up in a couple weeks. We're recording this early July. Maybe I was more aware of this because the whole thing's going on with the Redskins in the last week and a half. Tatanka's hair was dyed in such a way that it looked like he'd been scalped.
He was Red
And
Rooster without the mohawk.
Well,
I mean, I
started
just noticed
seriously
the
thinking-
top part, but everything else was
Yeah, the top of his hair was
yeah.
red, like he'd been scalped. And I seriously, like, if I ever ran into him, I would actually like to know, or if he's ever done a shoot interview, I wonder if that was intentional, like that was a statement. You know what I mean?
I never even thought about it, dude. But that's
Me either.
interesting.
Me either till last week.
I always
Yeah,
thought it was like
just-
war paint, but maybe it was something. I don't know. Maybe it was something else.
There's probably
Yeah,
something
I don't
involved.
know. Like, I would like to actually see if anyone who's listening to this has ever heard him address that. Like, I could be totally thinking way too much into this, but that was sort of what it made me think of.
Interesting. I never even considered that. I always just thought it was war paint.
Yeah, yeah. So I actually, watching this at the time when I was a kid, I'm sure I liked Tatanka more, but I was rooting for Luger in this match, watching it now.
Really? I could kind of
Yeah.
sense that it was going to go to a no finish because they made a big deal at the beginning about both guys being undefeated. And I was like,
Right.
they're not going to have a decisive winner at a King of the Ring tournament. Like, a first-round
Especially
match
in the first
especially.
round.
Yes.
If this was going to be a final, that's the way to break it. But
100%. Yeah, absolutely right. But there was no chance of that. It's a first-round match. They're not going to decide somebody's undefeated streak in a first-round match.
Also, with Bam Bam, who was the biggest guy in the tournament in the opposite bracket, it made perfect sense to give him a bye.
Oh, totally. Yeah, but he did show
Right.
up in a video, and he wanted to face Tatanka in the next round because they already kind of had beef.
Right. Yeah. But Brain was on fire as usual during this. He said the match has a 15-minute time limit, which is 1/3 of a moon. Gorilla said Tatanka's a lumpy Indian, and Gorilla said a dummy Indian. It was one Indian joke after another. It was like, oh my god, dude, he was so funny, and like, this is one of those things where his stuff just wouldn't work now. A lot of
Of
stuff
course.
still would, but I mean, this shit wouldn't fly. But,
Not at all. Not at all.
But I mean, as offensive as it is, it's clever.
Well, yeah, especially for then because he could get away with it.
Yeah. Also, Tatanka's chop to the head was the stupidest ass move I've ever seen.
It was. I agree
Right.
with that. Now, his finisher was fine.
Was that like a Samoan drop or something?
It was, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but you're right. The chop to the head, come on.
Yeah, and then I went to a draw, and it was like kind of weird because it was like not one of those dramatic draws where the time limit runs out on a 2 count.
Yeah, exactly.
But it was actually kind of cool because it was realistic. You know, like that's how the time would run out. Like, what are the odds that someone someone pins you with 2 seconds left in the match?
Yeah, exactly.
I actually kind of liked that. It was different. You don't really see that. It's always like a big dramatic finish, but this was it was really anticlimactic, but it was realistic.
Right. Because most Luger time limit draws ended with him having like Ric Flair in a torture rack, and the time had expired, and you'd think that Flair submitted. But yeah, this one was kind of different, and I like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I guess just watching how that finish, it was interesting to see. But I would say, like, for an initial King of the Ring tournament, I guess this is just me as an improv performer mind. You still want to establish the format of the game or the format of the tournament. Just let it run naturally. I would have liked to have a decision, even if it was going to be a disqualification, but especially for an inaugural one. But I mean, it's not a big
logic-wise.
takeaway. Yeah, like if you're going to do this shit, then maybe do it on the second King of the Ring tournament, but not your first one. But it was like one of those minimal things that just made me notice, that's interesting for an inaugural one. Just like how fucking Ellsworth jumped into the women's first ladder match. Like,
terrible.
That's their first one. Let them be featured first. This one,
or how Rousey came out at the end of the first women's rumble.
Yes.
Yeah.
I mean, maximum impact. So both situations, they were thinking about Rousey, and this one they were thinking about Tatanka and Luger more than they were the tournament. It was maximum impact for Rousey, but it did sort of take away from the rumble.
Yep.
And Asuka.
So, and essentially
that's
what
true.
that finish does is it puts Bigelow in the finals now. He has a bye, right, to the finals.
Exactly.
Was it like established in the rules before the pay-per-view that if there was a draw, that's what would happen?
I mean, that's just how tournaments work.
Well, they did make a big deal of the 15-minute time limit. Like, if you didn't beat your opponent in 15 minutes, you both were out. So, yeah, there was no, it'll go to an extra 5 minutes. Now, here's what's interesting about the end of the match. Normally, it's the face that jumps on the microphone and demands more time in the match.
Right.
This time,
Luger
it was
did.
Luger that jumped on the match or on the microphone and demanded more match time. But then he went and beat up Tatanka after the match, like fully embracing his heel persona, which is funny because about a month later, he was in for a huge character change.
And that's, I think it was, when I saw that, I was like, oh, does Luger turn face now? Because I'm starting thinking, okay, this is after 9, 10's up next, 10 he was a face,
Yep.
Rumble he was a face. So I was like, this must be when he turned face. But then no, because then he fucking fucks Tatanka up with his forearm.
Yeah, he jumped him. So it makes me wonder how far in advance did that 4th of July or whatever thing on the aircraft carrier, how far in advance was that planned? Because this was about 3 or 4 weeks before that.
Yeah.
And they were fully entrenching him as a heel at the end of that match, not a face. So I don't know if they called that on the fly. It makes me wonder.
You know what? I wonder if him doing that promo saying he wants 5 more minutes and the crowd loved it. I wonder if that's what gave them the idea to turn him face. You know?
It could be. It really
Yeah,
could be.
Minimal
maybe that was it,
factor,
'cause-
yeah, plant the seed.
Because, I mean, obviously you don't turn a guy face by having him jump the dude. But
Right.
maybe it was like the crowd loved it. So they were like, oh, maybe we need to turn this guy babyface. So it could have been that. That
Or
would be
Vince just
interesting.
needed somebody with muscles.
See, that's what I want. Like, I loved Pat Patterson's book, but I want a Pat Patterson book about just give me the booking from 83 or whatever to whenever he kind of stopped being that involved with it. I would love a book like that.
Yes,
Just like going
'cause-
to all these storylines and how you made this decision, what made you do this. That would be Pat Patterson's book was great. I need a sequel not about him, but about just booking.
Yeah, everything that led up to the Lex Express.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So after that, we got a Bret and Mr. Perfect interview in the back with Mean Gene. And Mean Gene is just stirring shit up, dude.
Dude, I have that in my notes too.
It's a baby face interview. They're two faces. And Mean Gene just gets them going. They start talking about your dad never beat my dad. And it's like some two kids at the fucking in 4th grade on the playground talking shit. And Mean Gene got this shit all started.
Dude, it was like he took a page right out of Bobby Heenan's playbook and got two faces battling each other, but Mean Gene was a face announcer or interviewer, and he got them going. He was a total shit disturber, and he's like, Bret, you said you wanted to face Mr. Perfect. Is that because you think he was going to be an easier opponent than Mr. Hughes? And then he got Perfect riled up with it. Oh, that was great, dude. Mean Gene in rare form.
The classic
Totally.
shake hands, fake out.
Yes.
Very 90s, but...
And obviously the
yeah.
point of it was to get you thinking like this match is going to be a fight, you know,
Yes.
and you did. Like I hadn't seen this pay-per-view in however many years, and I'm like,
Either way,
oh, this would be a brawl.
Yeah.
You know, which is cool because they had that great match at SummerSlam 91, which for years was my favorite match of all time.
You can argue with me, but I think that match made Bret Hart. Without that win at SummerSlam 91 over Perfect, I don't think that he would have had the career kickoff that he would have had without beating Mr. Perfect at 91 SummerSlam. I think that match made him. It caught everybody by surprise. When Bret went in, he was the tag team guy, right? Because he was just fresh off the Hart Foundation. But without that win, dude, I think they have a harder time getting Bret over. So that was a defining win for him. So to get a rematch 2 years later was phenomenal.
And now you're thinking, okay, this isn't going to be a technical wrestling match. This is going to be a fight because
Yes.
of that interview, because of Mean Gene. That's how good Mean Gene was.
Yes.
So now you're like more hyped up than you would have been for the match.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
That was next match.
That's our next match.
First one
Right.
of the semifinals, and turned out to be
Only
the only
one.
one of the semifinals.
Yep.
Yeah.
yeah.
Really good back. I thought really good back and forth as just the way that Gene Okerlund hyped it up. He brought out a good match between the two, but yeah, even though it would have been cool as a finals, just as a
Agree.
yeah, for
still
the
think-
inaugural one, you would have figured that would have been the case, but yeah, just the way they set up this tournament or the seeding.
Yeah, I still think it should have been the final match, but with the whole thing of giving the giant Bam Bam Bigelow a bye and taking him being the biggest guy, that makes you really, really feel in the finals that Bret's in jeopardy. Spoiler: Bret wins this match and goes on to Bam Bam. So I get why this was the second to last match, but it was, man, this was a good match, and it was totally different from their first one because they started out, it was two baby faces and they're doing holds and putting each other into wrestling clean until they're outside of the ring, or Bret's outside of the ring anyway. He's getting in and Perfect kicks him on his way into the ring, and now it's a fight. You know, now
Well,
it's,
Perfect actually broke face character before that. He did a non-clean break in the corner. He slapped him.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Yeah, the kick came a little bit later, and then again later on, Perfect
Right.
refused to break a sleeper hold on Bret while Bret had the ropes. So
Totally
you
forgot.
could kind of see
really
the heel
to the
coming
maximum right before being counted out. So heel factors in there, but yeah, it felt like a fight
Yeah.
atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I like that the announcers didn't overlook at what they were calling their salty pasts, that both
Right.
guys used to be heels, and the announcers didn't overlook that or try to play that both guys had been baby faces their whole career. They brought it up, and Perfect
Right.
was the first one to go that direction, but I like that they didn't ignore that.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. It was good. It was a really good match. At one point there was a double suplex to the floor, which was like, you didn't see a lot of that back then.
Outstanding. I actually have that in my notes too. Yeah, you did not see very often where two guys topple over the top rope on a double suplex. It was great.
And it was perfect. It was like totally safe. You know, you didn't watch it and like worry that someone was hurt. You know,
Exactly.
Fuck, dude. It's not even like there weren't two guys better back then. Like, find two guys better than that now.
Oh,
You know,
gosh.
like they were so good. Both of them were so like, to me right now, the guy who's the best, does everything perfectly is Randy Orton.
Yes,
These
agreed.
guys were like two Randy Ortons.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
It'd be like watching like Seth and Randy Orton today.
Yeah, right. Or AJ and Orton.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Just these guys were definitely at the top of their game. And I'll agree with you that this could have been the final, but 1993 WWE, I think they wanted to put on a David versus Goliath in the finals. And with Bret Hart getting the win over Mr. Perfect in this round, that's exactly what they set up.
Yeah, and Bam Bam was a big deal too. Like he didn't do a lot of memorable feuds, but he would whip people's asses, so he made sense to go into the finals too. I mean, it was only less than 2 years after this that he main evented WrestleMania.
Right, exactly. And you can go back to our big man episode, and I argue that Bam Bam, if he's not one of the best big men of all time, I don't know what list you've got, because he is easily top 2 for me.
Right.
I've got him and Vader, and Bigelow was so great in the ring. The final, we'll get to that, but Bigelow was so solid in the ring that definitely for 1993 WWE, Bret and Bigelow for that time was the right call for the final. And
Totally.
Bret did win this match because Perfect faked a knee injury, which was, again, a heel move to do. And he small packaged Bret when Bret came to check on him. Bret reversed that small package, got the pin, and Mr. Perfect was pissed after the match.
Yeah, he was. Yeah. He was like about to whip Bret's ass after, but then he shook his hand after. But
I
he
thought
was
a
not
heel turn
happy.
It was an
coming, dude.
angry handshake.
It was very
Like the
angry.
like the minimal congratulations to go with it, but yeah,
Yes.
you could still see that in his attitude.
Totally.
I thought that was going to be a heel turn.
Tell you what. So after this was a Hogan Jimmy Hart interview, and then his match with Yoko. I gotta pee because this is a very professional show. You guys carry on without me for about a minute. I'll be right back. Hate to do this to you. I tried not to, but it is.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Okay, so
Na-
he's
nature-
gone now. See, what was that, Adam?
Nature calls. I mean,
You know what we need to do for him? We need to just get him like a 5-gallon bucket. Just sit it next to your chair. When nature calls, just drop trow, go in the bucket. Like, really?
Or-
this is what's gonna happen?
or to any of our listeners, we're looking for some sponsorships. We would like to develop some drunk wrestling history catheters. Because we are classy. What?
Or if Home Depot would like to sponsor us, just slap our logo and your logo on a 5-gallon bucket. Send it our way. We'll give it to this guy that can't hold his pee for an entire episode. What is he, 3? Come on. This is ridiculous. But for the record, there's not really much to bring out about the Hogan-Jimmy Hart interview. I didn't have any notes on that, Adam. Did you?
It was just that it stayed on Jimmy Hart's jacket for, it felt like three very long minutes. I could be wrong about that. But boy, what
Way too long.
First off, what a great design. But yeah, that went on quite a while on his design.
Yes.
So
Agree.
then
And
just
as you
an
can hear by the
interesting-
audio,
and just a
Ed's
very
back.
interesting way that they panned back out to show Jimmy Hart and Hogan together. But
Yeah.
that
Hey,
was
there's
pretty much
painted
the
Hogan and
highlight
there's
of
real
it.
Hogan. Yeah.
Yeah, I was
All right,
like
you guys-
classic Hogan interviewing. But yeah, the visuals on that jacket was just mind blowing, and the
Yeah, it was pretty good.
megaphone.
Yes.
I'm back, you guys.
Yeah, we heard.
Okay, sorry about that.
You good?
You know what? I'm recording here at the Drunk Wrestling History Performance Center
Yes.
in the dining room. If I'd been recording in the office, I could have had like a Gatorade bottle in there to pee. But
Well-
out here, that's because Chris, I think that's gross.
It's funny you mentioned that because we actually had a suggestion for you that when you listen back to the recording, you'll hear what we suggested.
Oh, okay, good, cool. Well, I have pee bags at work. I could bring those home.
You also have defecation buckets, so those
have-
should be considered.
You also
Well,
have blankets, which I am not, or for all the pets, and I know that they have been utilized and
Yes,
also
yes,
missed
yes.
in the gatherings that we would have there. So
Yes, my animals are disgusting. I don't know how to pee outside. Thank you, Adam. Hey, let's try and get through the rest of this in fairly short order because I just saw that the phone that's recording the backup of this is at 10%. So
This is a drunk history podcast, dude.
we're very all day I didn't charge my phone. I came home and I was like, oh shit, it's at 10%. Hopefully
And it's
we
not
don't
like
need
this was
it.
last minute.
Oh no, we've been planning this for like 3 weeks.
You must be so embarrassed.
Yeah. So let's get on to the next match.
all right, yeah,
Hogan Yokozuna.
goes into that WWF title match.
This match was in the middle of the show.
Yeah, the heavyweight championship match is in the middle of the show.
It ended up being Hogan's last match. It was in the middle of the show. I did not remember that. That's insane.
But if you think about it, it makes sense because you don't want this going next to last, right? You don't want to like kind of set up something that your main event can't trump.
Don't upstage the namesake
that
of
word.
the pay-per-view.
Sorry. Yes, you're right, Adam. Agreed.
That's true.
And sorry,
That's
I won't
true.
use that word
Yeah.
again.
Right. I mean, logically, I get it, but I literally have not maybe watched this since the 90s. I was shocked at that.
I was more shocked at the amount of photographers at ringside.
Yeah. Yeah.
Very WrestleMania 11 like. Even
Right.
though
Gosh.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, it was the 90s, and the stereotype was the Japanese love cameras. So we had to play that up.
Oh my gosh. But it was obscene to the point where you're like, okay, this is going to play a role later, right?
Right. I didn't see that coming.
When all of them were entering, I mean, this is the first time that I watched it. I could even tell that that one dude was wearing a fake beard. I didn't know how much of a factor it would end up being in the match, but I could just tell, like, why is this being an act for this match? Do you really need that much physical ambience to build it up?
So since you already brought that up, there wasn't much to the match. It was a typical Hogan match apart from the finish. So we might as well just jump to the finish. I'll touch on the brain said it looks like Benny Hanna out there or something to that effect.
Jesus.
He was on a roll.
He always was. But so the photographer jumps up on the ring, and it was the most cartoony looking Japanese guy you've ever seen in your life. He has like a long beard, and it's like gray and straight and like 1.5 feet long.
The way that it was positioned on him, you could tell like there was a gap between the beard and his face, so you knew like a very bad tape job or string attachment.
It looked like a cartoon from a newspaper in the 1920s when they were signing the Chinese Exclusion Act or something like that. I mean, it was like I've never seen anything like it in my life. It was insane. But he hits the camera explodes, it hits Hogan in the face with the fireball. Most of the fireball hit him in the chest, but I watched it in the replay and like one little bit of it did hit his face. But that was it. He gets hit with the fireball and loses.
Yeah.
that was that.
That's the way to
Leg
go
drop.
out, apparently.
A couple of notable things that I wrote down for this one. Number one, Hulk Hogan's clone was sitting at ringside.
And he was beside himself after this match.
He was despondent. Like,
Devastated.
I'm pretty sure he left after this match.
The rest, no, he was there at the next match, and he looked like he didn't want to be there.
Yeah, he's all beer me.
Miserable.
I'm going to get drunk now.
Right. Yeah, he was not happy.
No, that poor guy.
Yeah.
They made a big deal about Hogan slamming Yokozuna during the match, and he tried like 86 times.
Mm-hmm.
Did not accomplish it. Macho Man kept saying, I bet... Oh, sorry, that was later during the Crush and HBK match. Let's not jump too far ahead.
Yes.
But the biggest other part of this match, Yoko became, now correct me if I'm wrong, only the second person to ever kick out of Hogan's leg drop. Up to that point. As far as I knew, Warrior at 6 was the only other one.
He would have to be. Yeah, I mean, they protected that finisher. Yeah.
They did. The only other
yeah.
person that I knew of was Warrior at 6. Not even Andre kicked out of it.
He would have to be. Yeah, I don't remember, but Slaughter didn't at 7, and it was not. Nobody kicked out of finishers back then in the first place. But if it had happened, it would have been in a WrestleMania. Slaughter didn't. Warrior didn't. Macho didn't. Yeah.
You could argue maybe
Warrior
Sid did at 8. That's questionable at best if he did, because that was a fucked up entrance by the people that were interfering in the match.
Right.
But that was a big deal. Like watching it in 1993, somebody kicked out the leg drop. You're like, holy shit! Like, wait a second.
Right.
But yeah, that was most notable for me. And then Hulk Hogan's clone being despondent, Yokozuna hitting a leg drop of his own.
Totally.
They kept bringing it home that it was in the heartland of America, Yokozuna, and then he killed Hulk Hogan and Hulkamania after the match literally, to where Hogan didn't appear on another WWE, WWF pay-per-view until 2002.
2002, yeah.
And then Yokozuna went on to be hip-tossed on an aircraft carrier 1 month later by Lex Luger.
It was a hip toss, that's true.
Yeah, he got hip-tossed.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah, so that was it for Hogan.
That's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, and that was like, I mean, for me at the time, that was the big takeaway of the show.
Hogan losing?
You know, yeah, more than Bret. Yeah. I mean,
Well,
Hogan
and not
was-
just losing, but Hulkamania being killed. Like,
Yeah.
literally.
I mean, he fucking put Yoko over. You know what I mean? That dude did business.
Yes, he
you know,
did.
Which
yes,
was like
he did.
good for him.
Yeah, and 1 year later, he was in rival WCW. Signed a big money contract over there, and we know the rest of that story.
Yeah, well, Thunder in Paradise didn't exactly set the world afire, so
Hey, you watch your mouth.
yeah, whatever it was called. Trouble in Paradise? Thunder in Paradise? No,
I think it was Thunder in Paradise.
Thunder, but Kofi's move is Trouble in Paradise. Yeah, he was Thunder
Correct.
in Paradise. Yeah.
Yes.
So after that, we had a backstage interview with HBK and Diesel and Mean Gene, and for some reason, Shawn Michaels was talking about dinosaurs.
Who
Maybe
knows?
he was talking about Hogan. I don't know. I was barely paying attention.
Well, Jurassic Park was a thing.
Oh, you know what, dude? That might be.
So-
he might have called Hogan like a brontosaurus or something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they were just trying to pull Jurassic Park in somehow to be
Yeah.
Oh,
relevant.
dinosaurs just dominated. That's how we even got the Toronto Raptors as a franchise.
Okay.
True,
Also,
yeah.
apparently, this was the first time he'd revealed that Diesel was named Diesel.
Correct, yes.
Yeah, and that's all I got to say about that.
Camera work wise, I mean, it was weird how Sean was standing right in front of him while the camera guy was trying to push into to Diesel, but I don't know.
Yeah.
That was just the technical standout, but for that interview. But yeah, right after that went into Steiner Brothers and Smoking Guns taking on Head Shrinkers and Money Inc.
I really don't have anything for this match. Aside from the announcers, didn't have much for this match either, except to say, I can't believe how bad Yokozuna beat down Hulk Hogan.
They talked about that match the whole time.
A two-team match on each side, and it was a fast-paced match. But yeah,
nothing to say about it.
But yeah,
Nothing.
that's all that they could talk about the previous one.
Yeah, they were
Yeah.
like, Hogan's gone, and let's fucking continue talking about it.
Yeah, and you're right, Adam. It was a fast-paced match. It was pretty good. The tag team champions were involved.
Mm-hmm.
Two really good challengers on the other side of the ring, and the Steiners and the Smoking Guns. And yeah, they
On
just kept talking about Hogan and Yokozuna.
Yeah, wrestling technical wise, I mean, if you didn't listen to the commentary, very entertaining match. You
it was a
weren't
fine
bored
match.
with it.
It was
I mean,
fine.
Yep.
nothing stand out about it, but good. Yeah, just a good physical presence, but it was just interesting how the commentator tone just shifted
Big
to
time.
like
yeah.
confusion.
Yeah, they sounded crushed, like especially Savage.
Yeah.
Poor Savage. He felt so bad for Hogan.
He was having a hard time with it.
He was. Much more than the Hulk Hogan clone, I think.
For me, what I have in my notes is Rikishi at this point was tiny. He was like
Yes.
little Rikishi,
Oh, yeah.
baby Heat. You know, he was about 400 pounds smaller than the Rikishi we would come to love.
Right. So every year after that, he got 100 pounds on him.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. And he's still going.
Still go.
He's still mobile though. He could do it.
For some reason, they started talking about schools, what school people went to, and Bobby Heenan said IRS went to the University of Wall Street, which is, I don't know, it was a stupid joke.
That sounds made up to me.
Yeah, I just felt like it was a filler match.
Yeah, it was. That's all it was, dude.
The main thing for me was watching this match. I was like, Billy Gunn is still around.
Yeah, that's incredible, right?
You know, like, wow, this is 27 years ago. The dude is still around. He had a match on AEW a few weeks ago against, maybe MJF or someone. Whoever it was a good match. The dude is still in incredible shape.
Yeah.
And I guarantee you he can come on Raw and have the best match, or come on AEW. Whatever show he wants to show up on, he could have the best match of the night.
Yeah, he's
Still.
great, dude. And he actually got the pin in this match. He rolled up DiBiase in a small package, got the win for his team.
Yeah, he was fantastic.
Yep.
After that, we have Mean Gene interviewing Yokozuna and a very charismatic Jack Tunney.
Usual charismatic Jack Tunney.
Yeah, and it was like crazy back there. Mean Gene was there, and Me and Gene seemed nervous about the cameras for some reason, and I didn't even know what Fuji was talking about, but it was cool.
Well, Mean Gene didn't want the cameras exploding in his face like they did to Hogan. See?
Oh, right. He was like, that's right, because Fuji was there. He thought it was a Japanese camera.
Right. Didn't want it exploding in his face.
Yeah, what is this, one of those Sony cameras?
Jack Tunney sucking all the charisma out of the room like a fucking vacuum.
We should do an episode about Jack Tunney at some point.
Oh, gosh.
I could talk about that motherfucker all day.
Yeah, okay. I couldn't. Fuck him.
He's dead. You're not supposed to say that.
You talk about dead people all the time.
All right.
I didn't mean fuck him because he's dead. Just fuck him because he was boring. There's nothing to talk about.
Oh, I thought it was like a Katie Vick situation. Fuck him because he's dead.
Now that I could talk about all day.
That's an eventual show. I know it's been brought up.
Yeah, that's a fucking watch along.
Yeah.
What is this, Pornhub?
So after that, before the next match, Jim Ross was assuring us we have not heard the last of Hogan, which was great.
Yeah. Jim Ross being a straight up liar.
Vince is in the back trying to negotiate Hogan's contract. He's not leaving, damn it!
I do remember that emphasis. It was something like, he has regained consciousness, or he is up and about.
Yeah. All right, what's the next
Nice
match?
way to try to save that one.
What's the next match before my backup recording dies?
All right, it's Intercontinental title match between Crush, Pride of Hawaii, taking on Shawn Michaels with Diesel.
Mullet match.
Thank you.
Right?
Thank you. Could Crush look any more 90s?
Very fluffy gold color, not even dark brown shading. Like,
first of all, Crush was fantastic because his gimmick was that he was from Hawaii.
Yes.
Which is the worst gimmick of all time.
Yeah.
Crush
had
had
it was
all.
riveting. I loved it.
at least
Crush had him.
At least very 90s or early 90s neon colors to depict that, or to try to put that over.
Purple. Yeah, it was like purple and yellow, like a fucking college football team or some shit.
And orange.
Orange, yeah. Remember when I told you to name Alana Crush?
Yes, you did.
Yeah. You should have listened to me.
You know, I think Crush could have only been more 90s if his gimmick or his outfit was hypercolor. Like, that would have been awesome too. But instead, he went purple, yellow, and orange. He had the bleached mullet. The dude looked awesome. And he was just the epitome of the 90s.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, he had a mullet. HBK had a mullet. Diesel had a mullet. The fucking referee had a mullet, which was Kyoto, maybe?
I think so. Yeah, it was great, dude.
Kyoto looked like he was about 12 years old. And then, dude, right after that, I watched, I forget which pay-per-view it was, but it was like a pay-per-view from like 99 or something. Kyoto looked like he was like 60. Like, he had a hard 90s, dude. Like, his 90s looked like it was the 70s.
Was he riding with Flair?
Yeah. He's probably riding with HBK and a fucking bucket of pills.
Yeah, dude, did you notice that Diesel's pants were tucked into his boots?
Oh,
No?
fuck.
And did you notice his sparkly jacket that he was wearing?
I noticed the jacket.
Dude, there was so much 90s in this match, it was incredible. Like, the match itself was great. Crush wrestled as your prototypical big man, did all your big man moves. HBK, you could tell, he was about a year and a half into his Heartbreak Kid gimmick as a heel. Mm-hmm. You could just see this guy hadn't even reached the midway point of what he was going to accomplish. He was incredible in this match. Incredible.
Totally, both
you
guys
could see
were.
he was, absolutely. Great match. It was a really, really good match. Highly recommend going back and watching it, but I couldn't get over all of the great 90s looks going on in this match. It was incredible.
Right. Yeah. Brain said that Crush has a busted up pineapple between his ears.
Oh my God.
Yes, and Randy Savage couldn't stop saying that Crush could slam
Yoko. Exactly.
Dude, like 42 times that fucking guy said that in this
Yeah,
match. Like, I love Savage, but come on, man.
Yeah. Also, I have a note here. Can you help me decipher this? Because, like I said, I was drunk when I was watching this. It says 2 drinks come to the ring smoking.
2 doinks.
Oh, 2 doinks. Okay, that's right.
Yes.
I do remember that now. They're smoking cigars. Yeah, it says
Smoking.
Yeah, it was autocorrect. Must have changed doinks to drinks, and I was drinking. and it didn't.
Sure you want
That's
doinking?
it.
Here's the thing. Why were they smoking?
Because it was fucking weird.
What?
Like, didn't
Okay.
it didn't make it more weird,
I get
right?
the duplicates trying to walk like right
Like,
behind
right
each
in-
other
yeah.
in sync.
That I
but
got.
I didn't.
And walking kind of they're walking like a wind-up toy.
Yes,
It was-
exactly. But
it was fucking
Anything
weird.
that was like typical creepy clown, that was executed right.
I think they should have been drinking instead.
Yeah, they could be on this podcast.
Well, exactly. We'd have a couple of doinks on this show. Fuck
Yeah. Well, luckily Razor was drinking.
Oh boy.
All right. So what do we? I don't even remember. Oh, HBK super kick crushed to the back of the head. Actually,
Yeah, because of the doink distraction. Yeah.
the drink distraction.
Yeah. The drinks, the two drinks,
And then
distracted Crush.
Right, and then Crush got up and chased the drinks away.
Yeah. Like, I don't remember if Crush had like a straight edge thing going on and he couldn't stand smoking. I don't know what the significance of the smoking was, but just weird.
Well, if you had a pineapple between your ears,
True.
You would chase a drink.
I think the smoking gun should have come to the ring smoking. That'd have been way cooler.
Dude, it's
Missed
never
opportunity.
cooler when this. It's never cooler when the smoking guns come to the ring.
True. That is true.
Yeah. All right, so that's it for that match. We got one more to go.
Yep.
Main event.
Main event.
Main event.
The
Main event.
finals of the King of the Ring tournament. Bam Bam Bigelow taking on Bret Hart. I think they were pointing out Bam Bam hadn't wrestled for about an hour and a half or so. Bret had a collective about 36 minutes and was still banged up from his last match.
Dude, look
Yeah.
at what Bret did on this night. We said earlier, Bret wins, right?
Mm-hmm.
Bret defeated two Hall of Famers, and I think everybody listening to this show can agree that Bam Bam Bigelow should be in the Hall of Fame.
Absolutely.
Which means, really, Bret on this night defeated three Hall of Famers to become King of the Ring.
Yeah, yeah.
Incredible.
And I don't think there was anyone at the time who would have been who was a better pick for King of the Ring than Bret. Perfect
agree
was
with you.
not Perfect. Kind of had peaked already. HBK was a couple years away from that.
Yes.
Bret was the fucking man in 1993. He was the perfect guy to win this.
He was, and do you think that this was maybe like a severance package of sorts for not only losing the heavyweight title the way that he did at WrestleMania 9, but also being overlooked by Hogan as the next challenger to the title? And they're like, okay, well, we've got to give Bret something. So, fuck it. Create the King of the Ring tournament. We'll put it on pay-per-view, and let's have him win it.
I don't know that it had anything to do with we did this and that to him, so we owe him, but I have no doubt that they created it for Bret. You know?
It definitely helped him. It gave him another title to put on the resume. It definitely helped him.
Right, and I think it's one of those situations where, like, I was just listening recently to Cornette, and he was talking about how Undertaker was rarely champ, and he said because you have a champ and you have an Undertaker, like you can have two instead of one. Like, why make Undertaker
Yes.
the champ when you can have both?
He
And
didn't
I
need the
have-
belt.
Yeah, and I have no doubt. And Andre, same thing. You know.
Yeah.
A lot of guys over the years have never Piper. You know.
Right.
Guys who could draw without being champ, and I have no doubt that was the situation with Bret, where it was like, let's give him this other thing, but we don't need him to be world champ right now because he's drawing us money. Bret's drawing us the majority of our money. Let's give this other guy who's like next top guy below him, make him the champ, and trying to get them equal. You know.
I see that. Yeah.
So yeah, I have no doubt that they designed this pay-per-view for Bret Hart. Absolutely. Yeah, it would not surprise me at all to find out that was the case.
Did you notice also during this match, JR was saying at the beginning of it that because Bret's matches go long, he hoped that the WWF had enough time to air the entirety of the match?
He did. Yeah,
Yeah.
he was saying like this will be. I forget how he phrased it, but right, he was alluding to it could go beyond TV time.
Dude, this isn't WCW fucking Saturday night where you run out of time and you'll show the finish of the match the following Saturday.
Yeah,
This is
motherfucker,
a
I paid
pay-per-view.
$50. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And you're
Yeah,
not going to
exactly.
show the main event?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, and at this point, this is 93. I'd had pay-per-view for 2 years at this point. This is me mowing lawns to watch this fucking match. you know?
Exactly.
So, yeah, it was like, no. We need to make sure that this pay-per-view runs all night if it has to.
Exactly. I didn't spend $50 on this shit for you to cut it off at the main event. No, this isn't free TV. You're giving me the whole damn thing.
Yeah. But as far as the match itself, it started out a little slow. There was one point where Bam Bam shot Bret into the barricade, and did you catch it? Like, it seemed to have smashed a little girl's leg.
Dude, I have that in my notes, yeah.
Right? That was crazy.
Squished a little girl.
And I couldn't tell if it did, but I couldn't tell that it didn't, you know?
Right. She possibly had broken legs.
Yeah, exactly, right. Like, she might have those Forrest Gump things on her legs to this day.
Yeah, and back then, they were like bike racks. That was the barricade back then. It wasn't the hard wall that's in place now.
A good 2 feet into that front row. So that's a hard hit.
Yeah. But it was kind of weird though, because there was the whole thing where Bigelow won with a flying headbutt, right? But he had, what had he done before that? He had done
Luna hit Bret with a chair.
Right, Luna did a run in, hit Bret with the chair. Earl was down. Was Earl knocked out?
Yeah, Earl just didn't see it because Bam Bam had gotten back in the ring and was distracting him. Luna runs out, clocks Bret with the chair. Bam Bam comes out, rolls Bret in, hits the diving headbutt. There's your King of the Ring.
That's a King of the Ring.
Second ref runs in.
But then it was like really weird because then Morella comes out, tells Earl what happened.
Other way around.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Morella was actually the ref.
I'm sorry. Earl comes out, tells Morella what happened. Then they talk to the Fink. The Fink says that they've reversed the decision.
Yep.
And then they talk to me and they say, no.
Earl's like,
starting the match.
No, not what I said.
It was weird. It just seemed, to me, it seemed like unnecessarily clunky.
Yes. There was no reason for it.
Yeah. Like I couldn't even, it was really weird. It was one of those, I mean, maybe it was to protect Bam Bam, I guess, to make it, but it didn't protect Bam Bam. It wasn't like Bam Bam hit his finisher and the ref was down and didn't count.
Right.
Bam Bam had his fucking girlfriend do a run-in, you know? So
yes.
It was kind of, it was like a Hogan Warrior situation where, what was Hogan pin Warrior when I assume it was Earl, was down. It was really bizarre. It didn't make any sense to me, and it just kind of, actually, I wasn't a huge fan of the match itself.
It could have been better. Really, like
better. That part was weird, and then they go straight into like a fucking bear hug.
Yeah.
Right?
That's not how you restart a match. Going right to like a rest hold.
They should have been beating the shit out of each other at that point.
Right.
And then,
like you have a new lease on life. Fight.
Yeah. And it was one of those ones where I'm like, man, if you tell someone that Bam Bam was fucking great, don't tell them to watch this match.
Not really. Or the Hacksaw match for that matter. Just not a great Bam Bam night.
Yeah, right. I don't know what his deal was, but exactly, yeah. But Bam Bam was not at his best on this. But Bret ended up, I don't even remember how he won.
Victory roll.
Victory roll, right. It did pick up for the last, I wouldn't say 2 minutes of the match. It got really cool.
Yeah.
And even watching it and knowing Bret won, I was like, wow, like I was entertained. I was like, this is cool.
Yeah.
But overall, like it wasn't the most fantastic match.
It was just okay.
It was the decent one of the entire night to put him on top.
It was probably Bret's worst match of the night.
I would agree with that.
Yeah.
It would be perfect Razor then Bam Bam. But Bret won. Bret's King of the Ring, and then he goes to get coronated.
Right, and finishing up with, like we talked earlier about, like the Hogan match going on in the middle of the show, with what was coming up at the end of this match, it made sense, but the Hogan match would have been a better finish, I thought, as far as...
Oh, you're going to send the crowd home with Hogan taking the loss in the heartland of America?
Okay. You're right.
Well, I mean, look, they had to watch Bret Hart get the shit beat out of him after the match by Jerry Lawler. But I think Hogan would have been way more devastating.
Right, and so, so getting to that, Mean Gene was standing up on that podium during the match. It was kind of cool. Bret came back there, got his cape and his crown and whatever the fuck. And Lawler comes out, talks all kinds of shit, and whips his ass.
Which is funny, because this is a really awkward conversation happening between two grown men who happen to be wearing robes and crowns.
Yep. They're dressed like children.
Yeah, exactly. Their costumes.
Yeah, I'm the king. No, I'm the king.
Look at my crown.
Yeah. I hadn't thought about that, but that's good. It's actually a really good point.
It's like Monty Python.
Yeah. But overall, the match itself was okay. The aftermath of the match was really cool.
Yeah, for sure, because it definitely set up one of the better feuds that WWE had in '93, and that was Lawler versus Bret, and it was basically King versus King. They had the Kiss My Foot match or whatever it was, which was disgusting, but it set up a great series of matches between Lawler and Bret.
And some great shit talking about Stu and Helen.
Well, yes, it did.
Legendary.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So overall, I thought it was a good show. I mean, I'm not Melter. I'm not going to give it a fucking star rating. If it were AEW, I would, and I'd give it 9 stars. But
it didn't happen in Japan. See,
New
so
Japan,
maybe 8.
no, New Japan would get like 17 stars.
Good point. Yes.
But it was a good show. Parts of it I thought were booked very well. Parts of it I thought, like we talked about earlier, I thought Bam Bam maybe wasn't the guy to go to the finals.
Right.
But it did make sense to have the big guy get the bye. Blah blah blah. It was great to see a Perfect and Hitman rematch. Oh, for the record, my phone just died, so we'll see how this turns out. The backup recording is officially dead.
On that note,
But yeah. So, any other final thoughts? And then I think we should take this home because who knows? Who knows how this is going to end?
well, look, it's a good watch. I would recommend going on the network and maybe skipping around a couple of matches, but I highly suggest the Perfect and Bret match. It was fantastic.
Yeah.
Definitely entertaining. Just preferred for a first time format or tournament. Don't screw with it. Just let the matches flow through. But it still worked despite that.
Right. All right, Adam. Let's take the show home.
All right. So we hope you enjoyed this. Hopefully you'll get your blankets, dig up some crowns in your garage, and play royalty just like them. And hope this inspires some King of the Ring fandom while listening to this episode or telling everyone to check it out. But besides that, just again, let us know any other ideas you may have for some episodes. Definitely like to get some inspiration, especially if there's liquid sustenance in the group. Need to get those ideas clearly established. So with Scott and Eddie, my name is Adam. Thank you for listening. Just want to remind you to stay 6 feet apart as of this episode, but also wash your hands. Make sure you enjoy your buzz, watch wrestling responsibly, drink like nobody is watching. 1, 2, 3, L'chaim, King of the Ring!
Cheers.
Cheers.
Wind blows on against this mountainside, across the sea into my soul. It reaches into where I cannot hide, setting my feet upon the